I'm Andrew Levine, the CEO of Koinos Group, and this is a new episode of our podcast. I sit down with Adam, the founder of gFam, which is a social network that rewards its creators in cryptocurrency. And we talk about what Koinos community members can build to help the Koinos ecosystem.
I jumped on the Koinos Telegram and was basically asking, what should the community build? Because I'm guessing Andrew's team probably shouldn't build an entire ecosystem just by themselves. So what can we as the community do, and what might be beneficial to the whole ecosystem, and what might be beneficial to us to build?
Coindex and Condor Wallet are the first two dApps on Koinos running on testnet. MetaMask, Uniswap. And that's great. I think that's great that they're building the stuff that they know people will need. People will need a decentralized exchange.
100%.
So you start there. Just by implementing something on Koinos, you get additional value because neither you nor the user are losing anything to fees. And so it might even be a fee-based application.
Yeah, you could totally put that in.
Yeah, exactly. I think that, and maybe my preferred answer would be build anything, get anything built. Encourage anyone to build any popular application. And the reason why they should is because it will be better, if only because it's on a free-to-use blockchain. Yes, it'll be higher performance than Ethereum too. And hey, if you're a TypeScript developer or JavaScript developer, you'll actually be able to use it. And hey, it's actually decentralized, which a lot of our competitors aren't. So, there is the core value propositions of Koinos. The beauty of a general purpose platform, or a FAT protocol, as they say, is that if it has unique features, then those features, the benefits of those features accrue at every level above it. Everybody gets to take advantage of it. So if we have unique value propositions in Koinos, then simply building anything will be able to bring something unique and novel. And then I think what people will find, and I think this is typically how startups find product market fit, once you've built something, you improve it over time, and you figure out how to take advantage of the platform and the technologies that you've adopted and their unique value propositions to make your application uniquely valuable. And so our job as the platform developers is to figure out what are the unique value propositions that we're going to bake into the lowest level, so that when developers come and build their thing on top of it, they immediately get to take advantage of those things. And we try as hard as we can to create as much unique value at the platform level, so that developers don't really have to think too hard about coming on. And I've yet to see any evidence to the contrary that developers need to know anything more than it's free to use. I think that the reality is that there's a lot of noise. We haven't done any paid marketing yet. And people just don't know that Koinos is free to use, and they don't know what that means. And so maybe what we all need to do better as a community is figure out how to get that message through to people.
Yeah, that makes sense. And I think part of that is just building really great apps that work better than their copies, essentially. Let's finish off with, I've got a very specific question, just to close us out. So Walmart, I believe, has a blockchain that helps them interact with suppliers and drivers to find basically to essentially track products. So, you know, they have a product that starts at a supplier, and then it's given to the driver. It has location, GPS, blah, blah, blah. Walmart can see exactly where the product is, and that saved them hundreds of millions of dollars. I don't know the exact figures, but it's saved them a lot because they're able to track things a lot better using a blockchain that they have in-house. So my question to you is, if another business wanted to do that, would they build that on the Koinos mainnet, or would they build their own blockchain using the Koinos blockchain framework?
Yeah, so as I like to do, I'm gonna go back to an answer I wish I'd given to a previous question and then try to tie that in. Um, the answer I kind of wish that I'd given before is that if you're trying to figure out what to use a blockchain for, the easiest heuristic to apply is to look for a person or organization that you do not trust. Is finding a situation or a system that you don't trust, and that distrust is fundamentally impacting your life. Because that is what blockchains are good at. Blockchains are trust technology. They enable information to be trustless, where you're accessing this information and you're not trusting anyone. You don't need to trust anyone. The system is trustless. It's without, trust is not required. And so, you know, maybe you don't trust a news outlet, or maybe you don't trust a big corporation that's
I trust every big corporation, Andrew.
right, exactly. Yeah, there's like, come on, how many massive organizations are there out there that we don't trust? Like, that's what you need to be. That's a great place to start. Like, look at who you don't trust, and then try to figure out how you can use blockchain to get rid of them. And it's not bad to think small, and just start with one small part of the problem. Now, jumping over to the Walmart use case, the same logic still applies. That if Walmart is using a blockchain for anything, it should still only be using that because there's something, there's a trust issue that they're trying to resolve. And this is actually
Yeah.
very common in large organizations. At a certain point, organizations get so large that the data that is generated by their own systems becomes untrustworthy, because they
Well,
have
I think Walmart specifically was distrusting their distributors and the
sure,
drivers and stuff. So they were saying like, we never got this product, and the supplier was saying, yes, you did. So
right.
they'd spend a lot of time figuring out what the truth was.
Yeah, we have thought a lot about these use cases, and we've talked actually to organizations that are considering use cases like this. And the interesting thing is that you can actually get a ton of value out of a totally centralized blockchain. So if Walmart is the one running this blockchain, at least they can have 100% confidence in the data that's coming out of it. And if, say, a distributor wants to be a part of their network and they spin up a node, and now you've got two nodes maintaining this blockchain, this is a highly centralized blockchain, but it actually totally serves their needs, and it's going to be pretty low
Yeah.
cost because of that centralization. The beautiful cryptographic primitives contained within a blockchain give that level of trustlessness, where you only need two nodes checking each other. You only need your node to trust the blockchain. That's the beauty of it. So now to get to your question of whether they should use mainnet, in most of these cases, they'd be much better off using the Koinos blockchain framework. And that's probably best for mainnet as well, because maybe they don't want all of this data clogging up the mainnet. Walmart or any private organization, And in fact, we think most private organizations will want private chains.
Yeah.
And our position is that's okay. Um, we think that accessibility is about meeting people where they're at and giving them a solution that can set them on their journey to greater decentralization. Um, but we don't try to force them to take a leap that they're not ready for. And so, the Koinos blockchain framework is effectively the world's simplest, fully functional, general purpose blockchain. And so if you fork the Koinos blockchain framework and start running a node locally, what you have is a fully functional private blockchain that doesn't do anything. And so now if a private organization says, hey, I have an idea for a blockchain, for a feature that we'd like on our blockchain, all they have to do is code up a smart contract and add it to the framework. And now they've got a fully functional blockchain with their custom logic on it. And yeah, they're the only one producing blocks, but the native consensus algorithm in the framework is I created this, my private key can produce blocks, but I can set other accounts to also produce blocks. And so it comes default with a federated consensus. We call that a federated consensus algorithm. But you can see how it would be perfect for somebody like Walmart, who's just looking to get their toes wet. They don't care about proof of stake or proof of work or proof of burn or whatever. They just want something simple that they can easily customize to their needs. And the Koinos blockchain framework is going to be a vastly superior solution for them than going, okay, hey, you got to use the public mainnet, and yeah, everything is going to be on chain, and there's
Yeah.
this consensus algorithm stuff, and if you want to produce blocks, you got to burn your money. But like every chain has those caveats, and so a lot of other people, a lot of other projects take the approach of being like, we're going to convince you why you got to adopt the solution that's like really a terrible fit for you.
Yeah.
Whereas as we were developing the framework, we were actually very much thinking about every potential customer that we could and that we have experience with, and saying, well, what are they going to get out of this? How are they going to get out of this? And when we thought about private organizations, we were like, they're not going to want a decentralization to that degree. They're not going to want um, proof of burn or proof of work or proof of stake. And so that's one of the reasons why we ultimately came to the decision, well, let's make our consensus algorithm a smart contract. Let's make everything a smart contract. Because when you make everything a smart contract, what you're left with is a really powerful framework that's really easy to customize.
Yeah, and that's super, super exciting. So thank you for your time, Andrew. This has been super fun. I've learned a lot. I've got a lot of ideas, maybe too many ideas now. I just need 1 million developers. That's really where we're at.
All right, well, that's this episode of the Koinos Group podcast. And just a reminder that Koinos Group is here to help anyone build amazing blockchain-based applications. You can book a free consultation by going to koinos.group. Don't forget to subscribe to this podcast and our newsletter. And thanks for your time.